Breakups, dating, the chaos, and everything in between. Here, where we talk about the highs, the heartbreaks, and everything that makes modern love a total roller coaster. I'm Gabby. Whether you're freshly single, stuck in a situationship, or just here for the tea, you're in the right place. Let's get unhitched.
If you don't want me, I'll just deem you gay. But if you need.
And we're here with our first guest, Jazzy, and she was supposed to get married today, but instead she came here to get unhitched.
Hi guys, I'm Jazzy, and yes, I was supposed to get married today, but instead I'm here with Gabby getting unhitched, and I want to share my story with you guys. So for the girls, you know you're not alone.
Yay! I'm so happy she's here. She's sharing her story with us today. And yeah, tell me a little more about this relationship, how that happened, how you're gonna get married today, and how did it all happen?
So you would think meeting a major piece of crap like this would be like somewhere at a bar or at a club. No, I met this guy at a bookstore, okay, at a Barnes and Noble. We were looking at science books and like medical books, and I was like, oh, this guy, is like kind of dorky, but like he's medium cute. Now medium ugly. He's a little medium ugly.
Yeah,
But
they're the worst.
I was like, oh, he looks like a cute little dork. And so I started talking to him, and we were bonding over science and nerdy things. And then, we ended up exchanging numbers, and he asked me out for New Year's. And also, too, you would think that, like, people before they're like, oh, because you post stuff on Instagram, like in a bikini or, like, more, like, scandalous clothes, I guess, that they'd be like, oh, you're attracting those guys. And, like, that's why, like, the crappy guys are coming to you. But the truth is that when I met him, I was in like a pilgrim dress. Like, I'm not even kidding. It showed none of my curves at all, and I was wearing grandma loafers, like penny loafers, and stockings. Like, yeah. So that whatever you wear does not matter. There's just like dirtbag guys everywhere.
Everywhere. Yeah, I think a lot of people, like, when they see a girl like that posts a little more bikini photos, they're like, oh, they're attracting those guys because they're posting that. But that's totally not true. There's assholes everywhere, and that's what people don't understand. Like, you can be wearing like a long sleeve, like, sweatpants, there's still gonna be assholes to you.
Mhm.
And so after that, after New Year's, you guys started dating, and what happened next?
So we were dating, and then I was obviously busy with school and research and applying to medical school. And he was a third year resident. And we won't say the hospital, but I wouldn't go there. We won't go there. But he was a third year resident. And so we were both always really busy. And so, I didn't suspect anything. And we ended up living together in Orlando. And then after a year, we got engaged in secret just because we wanted to wait to, tell everyone. And we set a wedding date. We were planning our wedding and everything, which would have been for today. And yeah, then the thing happened.
So when you guys were living together, did you notice any red flags on him? Because I feel like when we're meeting somebody, at first we don't see any red flags, but as the time goes by, you start noticing a little by red flags. Sometimes we don't really want to see those red flags, but they always show. So did you have any red flags? Like, what did your mom think of him? Because I think moms, they also, like, they always know.
They're the sixth sense.
Yes, they have that.
So I think that he kind of took advantage of me being naive because I honestly didn't see any red flags when I was with him. But also I like just trusted everything that he said, and I was 21 30, and so I think he definitely took advantage of that. So I would do everything. Like, he never lifted a finger. I would cook for him every night. I like did all the cleaning, and I did it happily too because I was like, oh, you're working so hard. You're working like 80 hours a week, always so tired. He wouldn't have been as tired if he wasn't cheating. But no, like, I honestly didn't see any red flags. Like, he was always super sweet to me, really kind, and never raised his voice at me. And that's why I was able to look past him being medium ugly, was because I was like, this is the kind of guy with these traits that I thought he had. that I would want to, you know, father my children in the future. I was like, this is husband material kind of stuff, like just how he treated me and like princess treatment and everything. So I did not see a lot of red flags until after the fact. But my mom, who's also in the studio right now,
Moms always know.
giving me the side eye right now, she pointed out a few red flags. So one of them was that I always get really worried when like people I love drive. I have like 360 on my parents, on my brother, everyone, because I just want to make sure they get where they're going safely. And so he would go up to Georgia to visit his parents and not text me like for 9 hours straight, and then be like, oh, I fell asleep on the side of the road in my car because I was like so exhausted. And I would be like checking on Google, seeing if there was like any crashes on the road because I'm like in tears, like worried about him. And he'd be like, oh no, I just like, you know, I was sleeping. And I was like, how about like let's get Life 360, because he doesn't have any social media, nothing like that. I was like,
he does now.
well, yeah, he does now.
I feel like I just want to point it out one thing. Like sometimes it's a green flag for a guy not to have social media, and us girls we think, but I'm gonna say like 99% of the cases it's a red flag.
Yeah.
And if they go and do they don't have social media and they go and have one after you guys break up, that's even more a red flag. Like no. So after, like, did you point it out this 360 thing, and then what was his excuse to not have you have his location? Like what happened?
He said, oh, I don't want the government to have any information on me. And I was like, what would the government want to do with you anyways? I'm like, you're either at the hospital or you're at the apartment. That I thought, right? Mm-hmm. He was like, oh no, I just like, you know, I don't want the government to have data on me, like all that stuff. And so I was like, you know what, like he's so like kind, and like anytime I have a problem with something, he fixes it. So I was like, okay, if this is your weird thing, like I'll let this slide. And he also like didn't want to have any social media at all, but I was like, you just need to like be better at checking your phone, everything like that. And he did send me pictures from this one vacation, and it was a vacation.
Is that vacation, right? That vacation. Oh,
okay, no. So that one of the red flags when he was not responding very well was he went on a family vacation that was all of a sudden to Panama City Beach. And I was like, us knowing we were going to get married and all that stuff, I asked his mom, I was like, hey, like why wasn't I invited on this family vacation? Like I'm basically his fiance now, like we're going to get married in less than a year, all of this stuff. And she was like, oh, I just want this one last vacation with my son, like with my little baby boy who's 30 years old. Okay.
31 and baby boy?
Yeah, no. Like no. It's not the baby boy. He is a baby. He's not a guy. He's not a man.
Yeah, he's a child.
He's a man child.
Yeah, he's a man child, yes.
And so she's like, I just want one last vacation with him before it's like, you know, you guys are married and all that stuff. Well, his girlfriend of 9 years was invited on that family vacation, and not me. Okay. And
that's where we need to get into. So that's what I'm gonna ask you. Because no, that's okay. That's okay. That's okay.
That out, right?
No, that's perfect. I'm just like gonna continue. So girlfriend of 9 years. How that came in, like how that happened, like how did you find out that she was on that trip? Did she contacted you? Like, how did you find out that he had a whole double life? That's crazy. Like, this man had a whole double life. So tell us about this too, because I think everybody wants to know exactly what happened. Okay. And then, yes, that's crazy. Yeah.
So my whole life changed when in mid-December last year, so only like 2.5 months ago, I was at a fashion show and I was changing into my second outfit of the night, and I was just had a few minutes before I went back on the runway. So I was like, okay, looking through Instagram, I saw this DM request, and it was like from this girl, and I was like, well, I don't know this, but it's like a girl DMing you randomly. It was like the ultimate hey girly.
Yeah, no, that's what I was gonna ask. That's what I was gonna ask, because I think like every girl has experienced that hey girly text, and if a girl is texting you hey girly, I literally want to like throw my phone away and be like, I don't want to see it, but I need to see it. Yeah. So what happened next?
So that hey girly text was from someone's sister, and they were like, well, my sister doesn't have social media, but I just want to let you know that she has been in an exclusive relationship with who we're going to call Chad for almost a decade now. And Chad just went and broke up with her last Wednesday and didn't give any explanation why. And she said that she saw your wedding website, which we had published already. And when she looked up, like what was Chad doing that he broke up a decade relationship and with no excuse, she found the wedding website and then saw my name and then decided to reach out and told me to call her. So I ran off of like the backstage runway thing.
I would start. Yeah, you probably like was so in shock.
I was just like,
I don't know.
I told someone, one of the other models backstage, I was like, go tell the designer, like, I'm sorry, it's family emergency. I have to go. I was still wearing like the designer swimsuit. I threw on a dress over, like heels on, full glam, everything. So at least I was like looking hot when I went.
You're like, at least I was hot at a time that I found out about this. Oh my God, that makes me so mad. But yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and she texted my mom.
Yeah, and then that's what you told me about that part. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
And so I went and I called the number that this girl sent me to DM, and she was like, hi, and like introduced herself to me. And then she was like, yeah, I've been in an exclusive relationship with Chad for almost a decade now. And he just drove up to Jacksonville last Wednesday to go break up with me, and which is crazy because I told him specifically I wasn't going to be in Orlando that whole week, and he made sure. He was like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, my dog randomly got paralyzed. I had to go put it down. I'm like, so I'm gonna go back home so I can like spend the last few days with my dog. So on the eve of us putting down,
he was lying about the dog. Or
no, the dog was our dog, and we were putting it down. Okay. But he used that as like his chance to go break up with her because he knew I was preoccupied with like having to put my dog down. Yeah, so I feel like that was a really shitty move.
No, that's so bad. You're like putting your dog down, and he's going to his hometown, right? Is his hometown?
It's not his hometown, but it was where this girl was living.
And then he goes to see this girl to break up with her.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like, it just doesn't go through my head, like, how these people do these things, and then they don't feel guilty about it.
Yeah, like, no remorse. Like, I didn't see him shed a single tear.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, also that too. No. There was, like...
We need Mom in the podcast.
Yeah, wait, Mom. Come join the podcast, Mom. Here, Mom.
Yeah, but you can be like the boys behind. That'll be fun. Yeah.
So,
just like show this.
Like oh yeah, let's see it.
Oh no, we can't show this.
We can like
how many screenshots?
A lot of screenshots.
This is the text message that she sent you, right?
Yeah. So basically, also this girl, we're not gonna like say her name or anything, but I have nothing against her. She is a very nice person, and I like wish her all the health and happiness and everything in the world because
that's like he was fooling both of you. So like the girl has no fault, you have no fault. Yeah. It's all his fault,
Yes. So
and I'm glad she treated this as a nice thing to you, like and she was mature about it and she actually contacted you because she could have find out and be like, you know what, I'm just gonna let him lives his life.
Yeah.
But she made sure like you knew that was nice,
Yeah. So basically, like I drove out of that fashion show and I called her and I was like in shock, but I was like, can you just tell me everything since we started dating? Because on the wedding website, we had the whole timeline of like when we met, our first date, like all of this stuff. No. And so she told me in like exact dates and everything when they hooked up, when they met up. And she's like, I went on the family vacation with his parents and all that. And so I was like, hold on a second, I'm driving to his apartment. And so I hang up on her and I call his mom, okay?
No, like
his mom
parents knew about
is like a 60-year-old grown-ass woman, okay? And I call her, I'm like, hey, and she's like, oh, hi, Jasmine. And I'm like, so that trip to Panama City Beach that I wasn't invited to, I said, was there a girl by this name that went with you? And then she was like, no, we haven't heard from her in like over 2 years. Like, that's
shocked.
crazy.
She
like,
was lying again.
Like, went on and on
crazy.
About it. And I was like, well, that's crazy because like I actually got a call from her and she told me that she was with you and sent me pictures of you guys all there together. And she was like, no, that's crazy. And she was even like, I don't know why women would even do this to she's like, my son must be like, like someone that all the women went because they're all crazy about him.
Oh
no. Like, girl, like, I'm sorry.
Like, no, he's medium ugly.
He's so medium.
No, he's ugly, yeah. The like mom is bad. But she was mentioning medium ugly. We don't feel bad for him. He's ugly.
And listen, you can't act like that when you look like that, okay?
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you are ugly, you have to have at least a good personality.
Yeah, not even
Yeah.
good character he had. So yeah, no,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
I don't know how he's not in prison right now.
Yeah. And so I was like talking to his mom driving there, and his mom's like, yeah, no, we haven't heard from her in forever. And, you know, these girls are crazy, like making up stories about this and that. And I was like, okay, hung up with her. And then I got to his apartment, and I didn't tell him I was coming up. I went up the elevator, and he always leaves the door unlocked.
Wow.
So opened the door, and I was like, you fucking piece of shit.
No,
And
oh my
like,
god, you probably
I've
was
never
so mad.
yelled at anyone like ever before. Like I've never been in like a fight with any boyfriends before. I've never raised my voice at any. That was like the only thing. I like threw my keys at him, but they like didn't hit him. They hit the glass light and it like broke everywhere.
Like I wouldn't know how to react to that. I don't know. Like I think like I would be so angry. You like how were you feeling at that moment? Like you remember like how were you feeling like the frustration? So like how did he reacted to like everything? Like
Yeah.
how what did he say to you? Did he try to lie more? Like what happened? He tried to lie more. He probably did try to lie. Yes. He said I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I don't know. Like what was his excuse for everything?
So when I was on the phone with his mom when I was driving there and I didn't give him a heads up, his dad was hearing the conversation I was having with the mom, called him to give him a heads up. So he was on the phone with his dad when I like came barging in, and he called his dad. He's like, I need to go. And then he was like, Jasmine, like, I'm just hearing about this right now. He's like, let me explain. And I was like, no, you don't get to explain. And then we had recently decorated for Christmas. So we had like a big plastic storage box. And so I got the storage box, and I'm like still in these big ass high heels and everything from the fashion show too, like full glam. I'm like stomping around, breaking the glass
At
even
least
more.
at least you're super hot walking
Right?
into the
I was
apartment.
like, I'm not gonna let him see me cry right now. And I was just like in shock, and I was mad, and I knew I was gonna cry later, but I was like, I need to just get my stuff right now and get away from him. And so I grabbed that plastic box, like that big storage box, and started going around the apartment and just grabbing things that were like important for me, like my skincare stuff, like books, like stuff like that I wanted. And then I looked around, and all the Christmas decorations that we had just put up were all mine. And I was like, you know, you can just keep those. I don't care. And then I went and I got my keys, and then he was like following me around, like talking to me, being like, Jasmine, that's all lies. That's all lies. Like, let me
try to lie more.
He'd be like,
That's
I don't know
crazy.
why this girl's lying, all this stuff. He's like, just let me explain. I'm like, no. And then I just like tuned him out. And then I was walking down the hallway with this big plastic box. He was following me, still talking. And then my nail broke, and because the box was heavy. So I was like, you can carry this to my car for me. I'm like, but you don't get to say a word. And so he carried it to my car and put it in my trunk. And then I'm like, okay, goodbye. And then he was like, you're not going to let me just, you know, explain a little bit. You're going to throw away everything that we have. We're about to get married in like 2 months, and you're going to throw all that away and take someone else's word over mine. And I was like, yeah, I'm like, because you're a liar. And I was like, you can go. And then he wasn't going. And I said, okay. I was like, get in the passenger seat of my car. And I was like, if you say one word, this is all over right now. And so he got in the passenger seat of my car, and I told him, I was like, better shut the fuck up. And then there outside of his apartment, you know, on the side of the street, I was in my car, and I called the girl again, and I put her on speakerphone. And then he was like trying to say something, and I was like, better.
Yeah, like,
and then
we are all three talking. Since you decided to have a relationship.
No,
with
I made him be quiet the whole time. And
really?
so I told her, I was like, hey girl, like, I thank you for letting me know. I said, I'm outside of his apartment right now. I'm gonna go upstairs and break up with him. I said, I'm just so much in shock. I was like, can you just reiterate everything that has happened again one more time for me? And so for 15 minutes straight, she went on and told me every single thing that they did, every date, everything. And he just had to sit there and listen to it. And every time I saw him open his mouth, I was like, better not. Like,
you're such a bad bitch. I love that for you. Yes, more girls should be doing that, because so what happened with some girls, they would believe in the guy, and like even though they have proof of everything, some girls stick to that person because they're afraid to be alone. And it's so sad, because I had that happen to so many friends of mine. And I'm glad that you're here sharing your story. That means a lot for other people. If that happens to you, please leave him. Like, yeah, it's not gonna be worth it in the long run. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, she was telling her story for like 15 minutes, given all the dates, and she was like sending screenshots to me and my mom of like nudes I sent back and forth. And she went on talking about like, all the screenshots she had and them sending nudes and text messages and all this like freaky stuff like they were sending each other. And so yeah, she said all of that. And then when she was, getting towards the end of the timeline here, I said, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm like, he must have saw my car down here and he's coming to my car right now. And I opened my car door and then slammed it. And I said, what the fuck do you want? I almost said his name.
You're so funny. And I love that you made him sit there and listen to everything. That's the perfect torture for a man because, like, you cannot even say a word. I have all the proof here. You're so smart for that. I love that for you.
And then so I opened the car door, slammed it, and I said, he's here. I said, what the fuck do you want? And then so he started talking. He was like, whatever she's saying, it's all lies. You can get an app to fabricate that stuff, to fabricate text messages.
Oh my
and
God,
dates
he starts saying that it was AI.
Yeah, and then she was like, Chad, shut up. Like, Chad, stop lying to this girl. Like you need to stop lying. Like, she was getting so mad, and she was on speakerphone, and he was right in this passenger seat. And then he was, like, yelling at her, like, no, like, you need to stop lying to her. Like, you need to never talk to her again. And she's like, you need to tell her the truth, all this stuff. And then he was like, Jasmine, I don't know what she's talking about. Like, pleading with me like this.
How with all the evidence he was still trying to lie to you? That's insane.
It literally gets worse.
Okay, I'm so curious because I didn't get to that part before, but tell the public.
Okay,
tell your
I will
story.
tell the public.
Yeah.
So we were, and then I was like, oh, and also too, that family vacation that I wasn't invited to, apparently she was on and all this stuff. And then she was like, I mentioned his parents' names, and she was like, wait, the parents knew about you too? Because she didn't know, because she had a really close relationship with the parents. I'm like, they knew about you. Like, I was still in shock about that. And then she was like, yeah, like, I just visited his dad like a couple of weeks ago because he helped me get my tires changed on my car. I'm like, that's great. And she's like, and I text his mom like every day. And I was like, I text his mom like every day because she's helping me plan the wedding.
The mom is helping you plan the wedding and is texting the other girlfriend. Like a son, like a mother, like kind of thing, because they're both out of character with anything in life. Like you're a woman. You should be a girls, not like covering for your lying, cheating son. That's so bad.
Yeah, like if your crusty, grown-ass 30-year-old son has like multiple women, at some point you need to be like, I'm not covering for you. Like, you need to get your shit together.
And then how she managed to text both of you at the same time. Like,
I know,
that makes me so mad.
She was like being besties with both of us. And so and so she was like, I just saw his dad like 2 weeks ago. I went back to I just went and saw his parents 2 weeks ago because his dad helped me go get my like tires rotated or something like that. And so she was like, I was like, oh really? I was like, told Chad.
Chad. We love. We don't love Chad.
Get your dad on the phone right now and hand the phone to me. And so he got his dad on the phone and then handed it to me. And so I had him on speakerphone, and I told both the girl and Chad to be quiet. And with
You're so funny. You're just bringing other people and be like, be quiet.
Yeah. And so I had her on the phone in one hand on speakerphone, and then I had his dad on the phone. He was like, oh, and he has this like really like crazy country accent too. And then he was like, oh, hey Jasmine, like, what's up? And I was like, so did this girl, come visit you guys like 2 weeks ago? He's like, oh no, I have no clue what you're talking about. Like all that stuff. And then the girl chimes in and she was like, F you, like,
oh my God, the girl starts saying
and then he was like, you know what he did? He took a bag of potato chips or something and started crumpling it in the phone. He was like, oh, I can't hear you. I'm breaking up. And I was like, damn it. I was like, stop it. And then like I couldn't take it anymore. And so I with both the people on speakerphone and with Chad in the passenger seat, I said, okay, I'm just going to do a common courtesy that Chad has failed to do to any women he's dated, apparently. I said, and let everyone know exactly where we stand in this situation. I said, I am officially breaking up with Chad. I said, we are no longer engaged, and I'm calling off the wedding. I said, and thank you everyone who was listening. And then I hung up, and I handed him his phone. I said, get the out of my car. And then he opened the door, and then he was like, he's like, this is all lies, still not even taking responsibility for this.
He's like avoiding all the responsibility.
Yeah.
And also, like, if it was somebody that felt guilty about it, they would be crying because
Right?
like they would be like actually like feeling sorry, but he was not even feeling sorry for the situation. And like, how can you not feel sorry for something so horrible? Like, you guys were gonna get married. Like, it's the parents covering and the whole thing. It just showed that they're all like a little narcissist family, like, or something. Like,
like sociopath. Like,
yeah,
feel remorse.
no, they don't feel remorse. They don't feel
Yeah.
empathy. That's so scary. There are people like that in this world.
Yeah,
It's
he's
so
still
scary.
out there in the wild, ladies. Be careful.
Be careful, Dr. Douchey.
Dr. Douche. Yeah.
Dr. Chad.
So yeah, basically he's still at that point, and then he wasn't gonna close my door, and I told him, I'm like, you need to close my door right now. I'm gonna call the police. And so he closed my door, and then I started driving home to my family, and so I told them like a little bit what happened, and I was just like, I'm gonna need a really big hug when I get home. And luckily I have a really big support system with my family.
Mom is here right now.
Yeah,
say hi, Mom.
And so he, instead of following me, because I feel like that would be the thing to do. It would be like to get in your car and follow me. But he did not do that. Instead, he just went up to his apartment and he called my parents, and I'm on speakerphone with my mom, my stepdad, and my brother, and was still saying to them, like, no, this is all lies. Like, this girl's making stuff up, all this stuff. And then so my parents said to him, they were like, do not contact Jasmine at all in these next few days. And they gave him a date in the next few days and said, if what you're saying is true and all this is lies, then get the phone records printed out, not online.
Yeah, try to prove it again, like
and get the phone call things too, the phone records and the credit card records, I guess. And they're like, bring that, and if you are innocent, then that will show that you're innocent.
I love it, like how you guys are treating like a child, and then this is making it even more interesting. And then you're putting everybody on a phone call. I think that's the best. So after that, did he try to contact you, like after talking to your parents, like how it happened, like after that, like how was, like, did you block him, like what happened?
Okay, so after that happened and I went home, I was in shock, and I was just like crying, and my family just had to take care of me. I don't even know what happened in those next few days. I was just barely alive, and I just remember being in my mom's closet, and she was like trying to comfort me, and I was just crying. I was like, God, no, like, please, this can't be true. This can't be true. And I was still holding on to like any bit of hope that like he was innocent still. And so I blocked him, and he kept on contacting my parents, everything like that. And so then the day came, and he showed up at our house, and we put him in a little trial, I guess you could say.
Oh,
and
really?
So, yeah, in the middle of our living room, we put a chair. It was like the most uncomfortable chair we owned too, and it has no arms.
Let's torture him. Like, I would be like, let's put him in the
It's like this uncomfortable old wooden chair, no arms. He doesn't even get arms on his chair. And we put it in the center of the room. And then so there was my dad and my brother on one couch, and then my mom and me on the other one. And I was like the furthest away from him. And so he came in, and my mom's like, wow, not even a manila envelope of your evidence here. And he was all dressed up too. And like
how you guys set up a trial for this man. That's so funny.
Yeah. You don't want to get on my mom's bad side.
But like, no, you're like, I love her mom. Yeah, that's what you should have for your daughter. Okay, you're gonna plead guilty finally, or you're still gonna keep lying? No, but he probably did. He still kept lying.
He kept on lying up until he walked in there, and with no evidence. And he was even wearing the outfit we were gonna do the engagement, the official engagement photos
maybe
in.
You would feel bad for him.
Yeah, and so he walked in, and then he was like, I just need to talk to Jasmine. And he was like, so it is true. And I was like, get the fuck out. And then my mom's like, no, let's hear him out, right? And this is
the mom is like, let's wait for the torture moment.
She's like, let's make this like very like painful and slow.
Yeah, I love that.
So he was like, It is true, and I didn't want to break up with her because she was just going through like a lot in her life right now, and she had a lot of like exams because she was a fourth year medical student, and I cared about her, and so I didn't want to break up with her until it was at a point where she wouldn't be as emotionally distraught about it and all this stuff. And then my mom's like, so if Jasmine didn't find out about that, were you gonna go and get married to her in like 2 months and just never mention it? And he was like, yeah, that's what I was hoping for. I was never gonna tell her about this. And
that's so bad.
I know, not even a single tear in
No,
his eye.
Mom wants to talk.
He was like, and she made me sleep with her. I didn't even want to. I didn't even like it. We all just started busting
It's so funny because some men, they're like that. They're like, I didn't even like it. I didn't even like her. She made me. She oh my God. Or it's just like when a guy goes out with his friends and he's like, oh, I didn't really have that much fun. I don't know if you ever heard that, but they do that. I don't know why men do that. That makes me so mad.
Yeah, like, oh, she forced you to have sex with her?
Yeah, she raped you or something. Like, no, that's bad. No.
Literally hate him.
And how can you still be lying? Like, lying in more lies and more lies, you know? Ugh,
and so...
and we've been trying to look past you being so ugly because we thought you were good inside.
But you're
now
not.
We know the inside is just as ugly as the outside. You and your stupid ass haircut.
That was an exact quote from my mom, like verbatim what she said. And this sounds like really cheesy, but every night that like we didn't spend together, because I went home sometimes, I had like this journal, and I started keeping it from when we started dating, and I was gonna give it to him on our wedding, and it was like the husband journal. And so every night we weren't together, I wrote him like a letter about like how like grateful I was for him, or like how much I appreciated how hard he works, or how he made me feel safe and stuff like that. And so I had that, and I threw it at him, and I said, here you go. I said, you can read about this. I was like, I was writing you love letters every night when you were out fucking her.
That's so bad.
Oh yeah, and also too, I had an apartment in Orlando, and
but it was not the apartment that you shared with him. Oh, okay.
But the whole time that I was living with him, I had an apartment in Orlando. I just didn't live at it at all because you know, we were both so busy. He was a doctor, all that stuff. And so the only time we could spend with each other was really like in the evenings. And so we had already sold my apartment at this point. And so the week before.
Because you're going to live with him. So
I was
you
like,
didn't have the necessity to have her.
Like,
So now you live here with your mom.
Yeah, because you don't have an apartment in Orlando anymore.
Yeah, because
sold it.
No.
Yeah, but I am moving to Tampa soon, and I will be a doctor as well. So then you don't have anything on me. And at least, you know, he was very ugly, and he did not have a great personality.
The mom wants to mention that he is ugly, okay? He's ugly. And that's one thing I want to mention here, because look at her. You know, like, she was so out of his league. Like, please go check this girl's Instagram. You're going to drop that, you know? And then I would never mention anything, but I think a lot of people would look at you posting pictures with him and be like, he's so out of her league. Like, that was my thoughts, but I would never mention that to you. I'm like, yeah, maybe he's a nice guy, but apparently no, he's not a nice guy.
I thought he was a nice guy.
Yeah, like, that's what you would tell me here. You would come here and be like, oh, he treats me so well. So hearing that from you last week, it was as shocking like as you were too, because I'm like, it's so frustrating. I was with Rebecca today, and she was like, Jazzy is so nice. Like, she didn't deserve that. But, like, we were talking about last week that I feel like God, like, takes stuff out of your life for a purpose. And then I feel like it wasn't meant to be for you to be married today or marrying today. And I'm so grateful that you didn't, because imagine if that all happened and he was still with the girl and still, like, because if the girl didn't have any social media, she would never find out about your wedding. But imagine if you actually got married, that would be 10 times worse. So sometimes we just got to be grateful that some stuff, they happen to you, but they happen to you for a reason. But yeah, and life goes on, but it sucks. Like, nobody tells how it sucks, how it's hard, it's hurtful, and how getting, like, healing for something so traumatic too, it takes so much time, because then it takes so much time for you to trust anybody. Because if you're giving an ugly guy a chance and he goes and cheats on you, you're like, I might as well date a hot guy. So if he cheats on me, at least he's not ugly, you know?
Go
like,
for the hot guys, girls,
just go for the hot guys. That's what I told you last week. Hot or rich, because if they are billionaire, you just look away. It's fine, you know? But if they are not, like, no, bye.
Yeah, just go for the hot guys, because the ugly ones are gonna cheat too.
Hot and rich, please. don't wait. Doctors, just kidding. No, doctors they have money, but not
No,
all of them.
dude was a resident. Like
Yeah.
he had like negative money actually. Like I paid for like all of our groceries.
Oh my
and stuff.
gosh, that's
And the
even
other
worse.
people-
Yeah, and the other girl paid for his eye surgery because he was just a resident,
he
so he
was
didn't
just-
have any money.
Yeah, but he was just using girls then.
His mom was like, "Oh, that was my box of tampons from the vacation."
Oh my god!
she's
And then
60.
he brought it home. That's so weird.
Yeah.
So I just want to mention something because I was dating this guy, and I maybe I was too naive too because now I like we can mention the box of tampons on the video because I have something to say. I was dating this guy and I just want you guys' opinion because I thought he was low key a serial killer. Yeah, because your mom thought he had a serial killer vibes too, right? Like, why do you keep tampons of women on your bathroom, right? That's what you think like a serial killer would do. But my serial killer, my little serial killer, he had his whole house. His whole house was so dark, and on his bathroom, like since we're mentioning bathroom and girl stuff, he had like a cabinet that you open. It was all Victoria's Secret's body splash.
What?
And then when I asked him because we were dating, but like he was with me the whole time, but you never know when they're cheating. They might have a double life too, like like him. But like I never found out anything. But I ditched him after a little after that, not because of the perfumes, but when I confronted him like about the perfumes, you know what the excuse was?
What?
Oh, one day this black dude told me that if you smell like girls, girls will like you. And I'm like, and I know he was obsessed over perfume, but like, and he was like, yeah, I love those Victoria's Secret body splash. And I'm like, this is so weird. So me and Rebecca, we started making fun, saying that's the like every girl that he killed, he had a perfume of them there. Like that was our thought because he had cameras all over his house. It was creepy.
Oh
Yeah,
my
even his
gosh.
bedroom. The last night that I was sleeping there, I look on the top and I saw a red blinking light on the corner of the room. So he would had filmed like us having the dirt, and I never actually confronted him about it. I just left. I think like, but yeah. So you're not the only one,
Oh
you
my
know. But the
gosh.
perfume thing creeps me out. Like, what do you think
Yeah.
about like some guy that has a bunch of Victoria's Secret body splash? Like that's creepy,
What do you
right?
think about a guy that takes condoms to work to the hospital?
Oh, he would do that.
Yeah, and I was just, I was like, in his bag. I was like, why do you have a condom in here?
Why do you like if?
And he was like,
yeah,
oh,
like,
he's
you-
like, I just never
No.
cleaned out my bag.
Right? No, that's okay. What you would say to you? I just want to protect my food. This is actually my Ziploc or something. I just keep my foot in here. Like what? I don't know.
Alright, I'm embarrassed.
No, that's okay. It's okay. You're young and you're naive,
Yeah.
and like I feel like a lot of like guys, they like older guys, they go. That happens a lot. That's just not with you. And I seen that because like I'm 28 now, but I was your age too, not a long time ago. You know, I'm not that old, but but he like all these guys, the old ones, they usually go for younger girls because they are more naive, so it's easier for them to manipulate them.
Yeah.
So that happens so much, and it's so sad because I've been seeing like so many other girls like getting cheated on and manipulated because they're young and they're still learning about love and relationship. If they get like a girl that is a little older and already been through it, they cannot manipulate because the girl already been through it. And now like you got that experience. Like it's I wish we didn't have to go through that stuff, you know, because I feel like most women go through some kind of shitty relationship in their lifetime, but men just do better. Like, why can you guys not just do better? Like, why you keep like I don't know, these people. Like, it's not every man, you know. There's good
Yeah.
men out there, but like, it's just you see that so often that it's just so frustrating, even like for your friends to see it or anybody, because like you just kind of like give up on that love idea of love because we are all taught like love is supposed to be like Disney movies and like all the like Cinderella and Prince Charming, but like that's not real life. And then when you get older, you of course you're gonna find your person, but you know like it's not always butterflies and flowers. I don't know how to say,
Yeah.
but you're gonna meet a lot of frogs on the way. Yeah, and then that will teach you a lesson. That's like one of the reasons I wanted to do this podcast to help out and bring awareness. How do you say that word?
Yeah, you got it right.
Bring like awareness
Mhm.
awareness to other women that are going through some things, like some red flag that you, if you're watching the podcast, maybe if you're listening to somebody else telling you that story, you'll be like, oh, maybe actually that tampon box was not just his.
So, my advice
Mm-hmm.
is, maybe the boring, kind of unattractive guy isn't the right option. Like, I just wanted the boring guy that would, make a good father for my kids and a good husband,
Yeah.
but maybe you should just go after the fun, hot ones. I don't know.
Maybe just waste your time a little bit with the hot ones and then get married to a hot, nice one, because I feel like you can also manifest the guy of your dreams, but like, and they will come to you, especially if you ask God, since you're religious.
Mhm.
It'll bring you a hot, nice guy because that's what you deserve. And then you're not falling for the ugly ones no more. Because if I go on your Instagram and I see an ugly boy there, I'm gonna block you.
Okay, God, if you're listening to this podcast right now, please bring me a tall, hot, handsome, smart guy.
Yes, perfect. He will.
Yeah.
He's listening.
And then I went to church after all this happened, and the message there was sometimes, you really want something, and so you're not seeing all the red flags when like a person, if it's a romantic relationship or even just a friendship. And so sometimes God has to, do something that's just so out there and such like a big red flag, because that's what it takes to get you away and to redirect you for his plan for you. And so I'm really grateful for that. And the whole time leading up to planning the wedding, even while we already had put the deposits down and everything, I did keep on praying, and I said, God, if this isn't your will for me, don't let it be done. And I kept on asking, if this isn't supposed to happen, then don't let it happen. Like, show me the right direction. And so even though I was, crying on the floor and like praying and like asking God, like, please, like, don't let this be true, I can see in the end he was really just answering my prayers. And although I was heartbroken, I'm very happy about that.
And I always say it's God's protection. It sometimes is redirection, I always say that because he's trying to protect you. And then I always say, like, the life that you have thought about, there's nothing like what God has planned for you. Like, God has so much stuff that you don't see it right now, but in the future you will see why it had to happen and how you're gonna meet an amazing guy, how you're gonna make so many new friends, how you're still gonna go out, how you're still gonna have so much fun, how you're still gonna focus on your career instead of being married and then getting your degree and being an amazing model. You're doing amazing things. So like, don't let a guy, like, especially an ugly one, right, Mom? Ugly. We mentioned ugly, but especially him, that it was not a good person, and then you deserve the world. Look at you, and she's kind. Yeah, he was just forcing. Yes, but thank you guys for being part of this podcast, and thank you, Jazzy, for coming here and sharing your story. We hope this brings awareness to all the girls, and thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for helping me get unhitched.
And get unhitched.